Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of our podcast 4x4 Trail Talk presented by Trail Gear. In this episode, I interview Matt Messer, the CEO of Trail Gear, talking about his off-road journey. Let's get started. So our first episode and our first guest on the first episode is Matt Messer. Welcome to the show, Matt. So for the people who don't know who Matt is, give us a quick intro.
No, thanks for having me on the show. So that's awesome. Yeah, so Matt Messer. Who is Matt Messer? I'm just an average guy, nothing special. I have a passion for off-roading that started at a super young age. You know, my family, my dad bought a Jeep. Actually, I think he inherited that Jeep from his dad. So in the early 70s, I mean, we were out on the trail, you know, smashing around before there was really, you know, any, aftermarket products to make really great improvements. So that's really how I got my start, was just bouncing around in the back of this Jeep with my dad.
How old were you when that was?
Shoot, I was young, probably 5 to 7 years old, 5 to 7 years old, somewhere in there.
And when you kind of started growing up, after that, what was your first off-road experience, like by yourself or?
I don't know, like by myself, but I mean, from there it just progressed to motorcycles and quads and, you know, just whatever else we could get on and ride and have a good time. My first Toyota, that was a 1982.
That was the first vehicle you bought?
No, first Toyota truck.
Okay.
It's a 1982 long bed, 4-wheel drive.
Wow.
And so that was the start. And so I got that truck and we started working on it, building it. I mean, back then it was, I think, Downey Off-Road.
Oh, wow.
Made some lift kits for it. I'm trying to think. There was another one, like I think it was Northwest Off-Road or something like that.
Are they still around?
I
think Downey is still around. Right?
Well, Downey, Jim Sickles, previous owner of Downey. I mean, he's no longer operating the company. That was one of the first acquisitions that Trail Gear made, was to take over the Downey header line and their air intake.
Okay.
So that's where that door came from. That's an Ivan Stewart, 1983. That year that he raced that truck. That's an original door.
While we're talking about it, how did that happen? How did you get your hands on that?
Yeah, just my relationship with Jim Sickles over the years from Downey. And I remember going down and spending time in his shop. And during the time that we were getting ready to acquire his product line, and he was one of the original sponsors for Ivan Stewart way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And so he really sort of gave Ivan a start. And so, you know, I'm looking at all of these doors and panels. He's got quarter panels, he's got doors, he's got bed panels up on the wall. And I said, I got to have all of that. I want all of that. And he goes, oh, no, you can't have that. I have to give that to my employees. My employees have already, said they want it. And I'm like, okay, fine. But anyway, so fast forward, I don't know, at least 8 years after we made that acquisition, I get this phone call. He says, Matt, it's Jim Sickles. I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? And he's like, I remember you wanted those Ivan Stewart, panels and doors. I got a door for you.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm like, dude, that is money. Awesome. Thank you. So anyway, awesome. I finally got my Ivan Stewart door. So it was pretty cool.
People who are listening, you're not watching, we have a really awesome old-looking Ivan Stewart door, Toyota door. It looks really good. So going back to the beginning, when you got your first Toyota, so did you ended up spending money on it, or like how did that started? Like
I mean, that's how it starts. You get the truck and then you go out and you try to hit a trail.
Yeah.
And you quickly find out that you need power steering, and you need bigger tires, and you need a locker, and some armor maybe, and you struggle through the first couple years of wheeling that way, but you progressively start building the truck.
Yep.
And so that's how it works. I mean, the more that you wheel, the more confident you get, the more skill that you get, and so yeah, that's kind of the progression of how it works.
Were you wheeling with your buddies, or you were wheeling alone, or who were you wheeling with back then?
Wheeled with my buddies, of course, and then did a lot of wheeling with my girlfriend, who turned into my wonderful wife, and we spent a ton of time just camping. You know, we'd load up the truck and take off, and you know, we'd get into these high altitude lakes and just camp and enjoy.
Awesome, I love that. So, do you remember what was the first off-road product you spent your money on, or when was that? Like with the truck?
First off-road product.
Or what was it? Like, was it a locker, or what was it? Like the
I
first.
think it was tires.
Oh yeah.
And it was the year that BFG had released the 32-inch mud terrain.
Everybody was like 32s. Oh my god.
Oh, it was incredible. A 32-inch tire, it was unheard of. And so I went right out and I bought a set of those 32s, and I put them on. And of course, with the Toyota, I had zero power because I hadn't re-geared yet. So that's the very next thing you do, is you put these big old tires on, and you try to drive the truck, and you're just like, it's gutless.
Did you regret it instantly? Oh, I shouldn't have bought the tires first.
No, heck no. You just like, you know, these are awesome, so now I got to get some gears, and again, that's just a progression. You know, you do one thing, and that requires something else to, you know,
you just start
keep
spending money and go into
Yep.
that black hole, a never-ending black hole.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where did you go to school, college?
I went to Fresno State University, right here in Fresno.
Were you doing anything with school related to off-road or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, off-roading's always been a part of my life, but I'm trying to think if I did any school projects that were had a direct.
Was your major engineering or something?
It's industrial technology.
Okay.
With emphasis on computer-aided manufacturing.
Wow.
So it's a great degree for a guy that doesn't have the ability to do all the math. I mean, let's just be honest. I'm not a math guy. So engineering would never have worked out for me. Although every job I've had up to this point has been design engineering. I mean, those are all the positions that I've held through my career.
Yeah.
And so,
what was your first job?
After college?
Or just first job in general in your life?
First job
ever,
McDonald's. I lasted 2 days.
Oh my God, I would never expected that.
Yeah, really? I was terribly embarrassed to go work at McDonald's, but I did it, and they didn't give me any training, and I ended up like burning myself on this crazy like bun toasting.
What?
Yeah, like you lifted it up, and it had like all these layers, and you were supposed to throw these buns in there, and I'm like, this is crazy. Anyway, I ended up burning myself, and then I think what happened was some of my friends came in, and I just got mocked. Totally mocked behind the counter, and that was it. I said, I'm never doing this again. And
Did you get fired, or you just?
I just left. I didn't even go back for my paycheck. I think minimum wage was like $4 an hour or something.
Oh, wow,
that's ridiculous.
Classic old days. First job of Matt Messer, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Love that. So after college, you were going outdoors and stuff. How did rock crawling started? Did rock crawling came first, or the desert racing?
Rock crawling came first. So
how did that start for you?
So what happened was, when I met Trisha, I was into mini trucks. I had like a lowered Nissan truck, and she's just like, no, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
It's too gangster. No, you need to get a 4-wheel drive. And I'm like, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
So she was the one that kicked me in the butt, and so got me started with the whole Toyota thing. And so
Thanks to Matt's wife.
yeah, I went out and bought that first 82 long bed. And so, what was the question?
So I mean, how did like rock crawling start?
Oh, rock crawling. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So fast forward through the years, I don't know how many Toyotas, too many to count.
Yeah.
That I just bought, total junkers, built them into rigs I could wheel.
Yeah.
And then ended up selling them.
Yep.
And that was sort of the cycle: buy a Toyota, build it, wheel it, sell it. And
Was that like a business for you for a while, or
No.
you were just doing it?
no, just a love for wheeling and love for Toyota trucks. So there was a time. So fast forward to about 1993. That's when Trish and I got married. We're dirt poor with nothing. So what happens? You sell the toys. No more jet ski, no more Toyota truck, and you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And so started having kids, having a family, and eventually, so I graduate college '96, get my first job. I think my first job paid $32,500. We were rich. We were loaded. We're like, yes, jackpot.
This is life.
Yeah. And so, things progress from there, and you make more money.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So finally get back into wheeling again, buy another truck. And
What truck did you buy then?
it
Another
was
Toyota?
an 84. When I came full circle and got back into it, it was an 84
Pickup?
pickup. It was a long bed, which I wasn't really wanting, but
Yeah.
it was a good deal. So I bought it. It was super clean.
Yeah.
And I built that truck. And thanks to California smog laws, that's what pushed me over the edge into really building my first buggy, which was a Formula Toyota. That's when Mike Hendricks had designed the chassis for F-Toy.
Yeah.
And so I said, that's it. The truck will not pass smog. I'm tired of messing with it.
Yeah.
I'm done. And so I built this buggy. And then I remember opening up.
And is that the Black Betty we were talking about, or F-Toy?
The F-Toy.
F-Toy, gotcha.
F-Toy, yeah. And so I remember opening up a magazine, and I remember seeing like Shannon Campbell and the red single seat car that he had built, buggy, had the dual exhaust, V8. I mean, this thing looked like a rocket ship,
Wow, yeah, I remember that one.
And so I go out to, I see that there's a CalRocks event.
Yeah.
And it's out in Cougar Butte. So I said, I'm going to go check this out.
Yeah.
So I drive all the way out there, and first thing I see is Shannon Campbell rolling down the side of the course, lands on his wheels, boom, right back on the course. And I said, okay, I want to do this.
Wow.
And so I came back, and I got serious, and I finished the F-Toy. And
Did you compete there, or what was it going on at that event?
I just went to watch.
Okay.
And
Just a
so-
spectator.
Yeah, spectator. So built the F-Toy, and that was 2005 or 6.
Okay.
I went to my first event with the F-Toy, and I believe it was also Hobie Smith's first event. We met. That's where we met. We were both lost in the desert trying to find the event site. And
Where was that event site?
it was at Cougar Buttes.
Oh, same
And,
place.
I think we ran into each other, literally almost crashed into each other. He was
Wow.
driving this crazy bucket of bolts RV that was so sketch. And we're on Rock Camp Road, I think it is. But anyway,
Yeah.
so that was the first event. We got out there, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I get on the first course, and I see this guy rolling down the hill in front of me, and I'm like, what am I doing? Anyway, but that was the start of it, and we did really well. I think we got first or second in that first event.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah,
Did
it
you
was
have
fun.
any spotter or someone, or were you alone?
Yeah, I think it was. I think my brother-in-law Craig
Oh, wow.
was spotting for me. He was my first spotter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So after when you started rock crawling, you just kind of decided, oh, this is what I want to do for a while? Like, how did it go about from there? Like, what were you thinking of making a career out of it? Because Matt Messer kind of became a brand from there in rock crawling. How did that happen? Like, were you thinking about this?
Well, at the time, so right at that time that I built that first Formula Toyota vehicle,
Yeah.
I'd already started designing products.
Okay.
And so
For Toyotas?
yeah, for Toyota. So back to that 84 long bed
Yeah.
that I'd purchased, and John Bundert might be angry with me after I make these comments, but me and John are good.
Yeah.
He's my bro. So I placed an order with All Pro Off Road for high steer.
High steer kit?
A high steer kit for my 84. And I think it was $1,400 or something crazy like that. It was a ridiculous amount of money.
What year was that?
Shoot, 2005 or something.
Oh, $1,400 for a high steer kit.
So I get the kit. Actually, I wait weeks and weeks and weeks, and I finally get the kit.
Yeah.
And I get it, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is what I do. This is what I do. I design products. I mean,
Yeah.
And so I said, that's it. I'm going to start manufacturing this stuff. And so that's how it all started. Is I just decided, I'm going to start designing the product, and I'm going to start manufacturing the product. And
so you kind of owe it to All Pro because they kind of decided
through my frustrations of not getting my product when he said I would get it. That's what sort of like lit the fire to really go out and kind of change the industry.
Yeah.
With everything that I learned in my previous employers,
yeah,
I knew what was possible.
Yep.
And I knew the improvements that we could make.
Yeah.
One being having inventory on the shelf. Two being mass producing the product so that we could get the price point down so many people could enjoy the product.
Exactly.
The everyday average person could enjoy it. And that's really what we've done. I mean, that's one of our big accomplishments at Trail Gear is being able to mass produce products and get the price down to the point where it's not this gigantic huge investment, and you can get it shipped same day.
Exactly. So kind of circling back to the rock crawling, when did you kind of decided to make it or when did it become your career, a side career?
Yeah, I mean, after the first event, I was obviously just completely hooked, and from there it just progressed, and it was a perfect match to Trail Gear, obviously. So we would build product, we'd put it on the Formula Toyota, we would test it, go out to the hammers and wheel, go to the rock crawling events and wheel, and obviously it was great advertising.
Yeah.
And so I just progressed from there.
Okay. After doing all that rock crawling and stuff, when did the desert racing started for you?
Well, yeah, you can thank Dave Cole for that one. Give Dave some props for, and Jeff Knoll also.
What year was that, like when you kind of started getting into desert racing?
Well, they started King of the Hammers. I don't even remember what year it was that it started.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But,
a while back.
One of my employees, Chris Geiger at the time, went out and ran that original year.
Yeah.
So he was really one of the OG guys. So I consider Trail Gear to be OG.
Yeah.
King of the Hammers. Anyway, so year after year, I mean, that just was like raising the bar.
Yeah.
And, I raced that Formula Toyota on leaf springs several years at King of the Hammers. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we did it, and we had an awesome time, and it was a great adventure. And so from there, it just progressed into more capable cars, faster cars, and that's how it started.
You sold your last your desert racing car, right?
Yeah, the IFS car that
IFS.
we built. Yeah.
How long you had that one?
We had that car for about 2 years, and we had a great time. The first year out was extremely rough. We ended up crashing the car, and it was horrible. Got helicoptered out. It was bad.
Wow.
Really bad. A lot of things went bad that year for us with the car. But we also had a lot of success that same year.
Yeah.
We won Cinco de Bajo, whatever it was.
Not Cinco de Mayo, right?
No. Cinco de Baja, I guess is what they call it. It was an event out in New Mexico.
Okay.
And so we overalled that race, and we had a great time.
Nice.
We raced the Mint 400 that year and ended up fourth. But I think there might have been 4 cars in our class. So really we got
not
last.
too hot on that one.
Yeah. We had major fuel issues. But we raced the NorCal series and dominated that first year at NorCal. We were a little bit ahead of the curve as far as that type of car racing at that particular event.
Yeah.
So we had a good time.
You guys were like doing really good. What kind of stopped for you guys to like made that decision? Oh, we're not gonna do hardcore desert racing anymore.
Yeah. So that's really just came down to a priorities decision for me personally.
Okay.
To go out and properly race at the top level, which we were doing, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money. And looking at some of the pain that we were going through at Trail Gear, it hasn't always been just this wonderful, looking through the rose-colored lenses at Trail Gear. We've had some financial challenges, and at that particular time, we were being challenged big time, and I just did not feel right about spending the money on racing.
Yep.
And so, with a lot of thought, with a lot of prayer, the phone rang, and it was Greg Adler, and he said, "Hey, Matt, I want to buy your car." And I'm like, "It's not for sale." And he goes, "Everything's for sale." And I'm like, "I don't know, Greg." And he goes, "Well, just give me a number." And so, I thought about it, and we agreed on a number. That was, I think, on a Friday. I drove the car down on a Monday. Greg took possession of the car, and I cried all the way home.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
Because I was so sad.
Yeah.
But after that, it was really the right decision.
Yeah.
It gave me so much extra time to focus on the business.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I needed to do. Yeah. And so we did that. And that year that I didn't do any Ultra 4 racing, we experienced, I experienced really the best year of just getting rest, being focused.
Kind of like healing from all the beat up you have gone through.
Well, it was 10 years. It was basically, we had
consistent.
gone 10 years straight of
rock crawling,
trail riding events, desert racing. I mean, it was a lot. And so we just had this 1 year of just downtime, and then I still had my single seat car that from rock crawling, and so I remember, I don't remember who called me. Maybe it was Rich from We Rock. Said, "Hey, why don't you come out to an event? We're going to be at Donner."
Before that, you never did We Rock?
No, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We stopped everything that year.
Oh, gotcha.
The year that I sold the race car to Greg, we stopped everything.
Gotcha.
And just kind of just chilled.
Okay.
And focused on the business. And so anyway, funny story. Nick, who was my spotter at the time, I'm like, "Hey, let's go do a rock crawling event. Let's just get out of here and go do that."
And you guys are going to Donner, huh?
Yeah, we went up to Donner, but it was funny because we're so used to prepping for these big desert races. I mean, 3 sets of tools, 3 sets of spares, chase trucks. I mean, it's so
like a
much
pit crew,
work. Yeah,
like
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we grabbed a 5-gallon jug of race fuel, 1 spare tire, and put the car in the truck, and I think a small bag of tools.
That's it.
And we're like, we're idiots. We got to get back into rock crawling. This is way too easy.
Oh, wow.
And so we went up there and we had a great time. I think we may even have won that event.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's what's up with that.
That's pretty cool. Did you guys ever thought of doing, or you personally thought of doing Baja 1000?
I had dreams of racing Baja, but the reality is my my go fast days are over, and I'm okay with that.
Come back to Baja. Let's do Baja, Matt. Will
Right.
you ever want to do it?
I don't think so at this
Yeah.
point. The only way I could possibly do it is to catch a ride in somebody else's vehicle,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's just I wouldn't want that responsibility of
Yeah.
driving somebody else's vehicle.
Yeah.
So right now it's a no.
Yeah. So kind of going back to like you were talking about how it took toll on your body for like doing that for 10 years. If there's like a young enthusiast or someone who's trying to get into like hardcore off-roading, because you were doing hardcore, like doing it for fun is different.
Yep.
And if someone who wants to make this as a career, what would you suggest them as a sport? Like what they should do to recover their body and mental, everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be into it at the level that we were into it, I mean, basically, eating healthy, exercising often. I mean, those are two key things. Drinking a ton of water.
Matt is a big runner.
I love to run. But yeah, working on your core, that's probably the number one thing that's going to give you the strength that you need to stay in the car for 10 hours at a time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
The last King of the Hammers race, we finished 9th, and it was 10 or 11 hours in the car.
And that's not like a straight road. You're going through everything crazy.
Yeah.
That 10 hours will hurt for sure.
Yep. And I mean, there's times where we broke down. We broke down on Highway 20 or something like that trail out there, and we had every wrench we needed except the one we really needed. And so I jumped out of the car and I literally ran 2 miles to the pit and 2 miles back. And so, being in shape is a huge thing. I mean, because there's things that are unexpected that you may have to do.
So running paid off there, huh?
It did. I was running through the desert. I looked like Chevy Chase from Vacation, a total maniac.
That's awesome. So I guess just kind of stay in shape, educate yourself, and
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Eating healthy, staying active, and truly working out. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. What's the thing you wish you knew when you started all this, or like your off-road journey, if you look back at it, because like you thinking about, oh man, why did I buy that car, or why did I do this?
I don't really have, honestly, I don't have a lot of regrets. My business style, I'm a type A, I'm super aggressive in everything that I do. I'm not scared of failing. And trust me, we have failed in every possible way you can think of. And sometimes with a big financial price tag, but that's okay, because that's how we learn. I love it when somebody tells me, oh, you can't do that. Really?
Watch me.
Watch me, let me show you how it's done, bro.
Love that.
And that's what we've done. And I think that the success of Trail Gear, I mean, that's a testimony of our style, of my style of doing business. And we have ticked off a ton of people in the industry. Well, sorry.
Yep.
We play for keeps. I'm here to dominate the off-road industry on a global platform. We're not just here to serve our local community. We serve the world.
Yep. Well, leaders not always get like a good rep, so it's not. I think
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's very tough.
Being a leader is always.
You definitely learn to grow some thick skin.
Yeah.
And that took a while. It stings at first, but then you're just like, whatever.
And you stop listening to those noises.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. You don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to all the whiny crybaby web wheelers.
Yeah.
You just stay focused on the goal.
Yeah.
And keep moving forward.
One thing my mom always says, she's like, when the people in your closer circle, when they start telling you, like your parents or your brother and sisters, when they start telling you you're doing something wrong, then that's a reality check. But if you're going towards your passion 100%, and people close to you, they're telling you, oh yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you reality check, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So kind of thinking if you, definitely Stuart is like one of your guys. If you had to think of top 3 people who kind of are on your list, that these are the people I look up to in the off-road industry, who would that be?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a kind of a loaded question
Yeah.
because there's different types of people out there. If I'm talking just rock crawling, Jason Pauley, love Jason Pauley.
Wow.
Used to just be in awe
Is
watching Jason.
Is he still around?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen him in
He
a while.
doesn't crawl anymore.
Okay.
But he's, runs his shop still.
Come back, Jason Pauley.
Yeah, Jason Paul he's a legend in rock crawling, and he did things that didn't seem possible with his rear steer car, and it was insane. Jesse Haynes,
Yeah.
love Jesse Haynes. He's a great customer of ours. He's also a great friend of mine personally, and
Love Jesse.
He's always on the cutting edge of developing new things, new crawlers.
It's so much fun to like watch Jesse compete every time. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Shannon Campbell, the dude never gives up. Never gives up.
No is not an answer in his dictionary.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so Shannon's been a great person to watch, and he's also a pretty good friend of mine. It's been a while since we talked, but Campbells are a great family.
Yeah.
Who else?
What about like desert racing and stuff, or like go fast? If you had.
Probably. I mean, Ivan Stewart, awesome. Walker Evans. I got a great shot on that picture over there. That end picture of Walker.
Yeah.
Giving me the lowdown right before one of the King of the Hammers races, and we're just talking, and I'm like, all right, so what's the deal, Walker? What do you got for me? He goes, don't follow too close in the dust. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. I'm trying to remember now who it was, but that same within two hours into the race, wow, who was it? Oh man,
This is at KOH.
yeah, somebody had stopped in the dust on the race course right before a hazard.
Oh my god!
And I ran up on him. It was Tom Wace. Tom Wace stops on the race course. Bam! I slam in. I get over enough to where my front driver hits his rear passenger, and we launch up in the air, and I land right next to him, and I look over at him, and he is just cracking up, like, and I'm like, you freaking
Tom Wace, what are you doing?
Yeah, Tom Wace, right there, him and his mustache. And anyway, so at that exact time, I'm like, crazy Walker Evans was right. Follow too close in the dust.
Gotta learn from the OGs.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a funny story.
That's awesome. What was there like a thing you didn't expect from the whole off-road culture? You were like, oh, I never expected this would. You never expected something which will come out of the whole off-road.
I don't know. I think that people don't understand what a family it is out there. The year that we crashed, I had the next morning I had concussion sickness so bad. Woke up in the RV and I was puking all over the place, and
Wow.
it was real bad. And so the EMTs came in, and they said, "Look, dude, you're not going to get better.
Yeah.
Like we got to helicopter you out of here."
Wow.
And I'm just like, all right, what? I didn't care at the time. I was like, I'm so sick. I need to feel better. And they're like, yeah, you're dying. If you don't get help now, you're gonna die, dude. So, long story short, they landed the helicopter on the short course, flew me out, but everything was there. I mean, our entire setup was left behind, and everybody from the community pitched in. They packed us up and literally drove our junk home. So
you never thought that this was going to be that strong of a community, like a family?
it just is. You just, you don't really, you take it for granted, but when something goes down, everybody is in there to help.
Yep.
And we've done the same thing at other events. Somebody gets hurt or whatever. I mean, everybody's down to help everybody else.
Yeah.
And I love that about the industry.
Yeah, I think I've also noticed like it doesn't matter like if you're following like certain company or something. If somebody gets hurt on the trail, people are there to like help
100%.
you. Yeah, it's a
100%.
strong community.
Yeah.
Looking back at your career, what would you tell young Matt Messer?
Be patient. Have more patience. I think that's a big thing. Especially, like, I mean, if you're just in rock crawling, that's one of the biggest things is take your time, be patient, don't force it. And I can't tell you how many cones and how many rollovers and just trying to just do it my way. And so I think just being patient is a huge thing.
I think that do you think that that the clock adds like a lot of pressure when you're like competing in rock crawling?
It can, but as you get experience, you learn to manage the time on the course, and but there's still, when something goes wrong, not expected, that's the big thing is what's your plan B, what's your plan C when something doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And when plan A doesn't work and then plan B doesn't work and you're on to plan C, that's when you start going crazy on course. That's when I start going crazy on course.
And the spotter starts going crazy on course. Everybody's going crazy.
Yep.
All right, so we're almost towards the end here. On ending note, I'm just going to ask you a simple question. What is off-road? If you have to explain, what is off-road?
Off-road for me is the enjoyment of being out on the trail. It is the adventure of exploring someplace you've never been before, and doing it with your friends, doing it with your family. That's off-road.
Love that. Moving forward, what are your plans for rock crawling and stuff, or going outdoors?
Yeah, so we've moved into some new market segments with the recent acquisitions, one being All Pro Off-Road and then Wheelers Off-Road. Both of those are very Tacoma-centric companies. So really enjoyed the All Pro product line. It's one of my favorite product lines. John Bundrent.
The heist your kids still remember.
Yeah, John is an awesome guy, awesome designer. There's not much that I would change about the All Pro designs. We've made some improvements. Big improvement was to the swing out bumper, but the overall product that John designed, the original Tacoma product line, is awesome, and we love it. So that gives me the enjoyment of now taking the newer Tacomas out on the trail and getting into that overland market, and that's fun. I mean, that is just a really fun thing to do because you have all of your camping gear with you and everything's sort of integrated in with the rooftop tent and the bed rack. We have the pack rack product, which I love.
So I've seen you like taking that All Pro Tacoma out on trails and stuff, camping out on the lakes and stuff.
Well, yeah, the cool thing about it is you can take that truck and you're comfortable enough in the truck to drive it. Like, I mean, I drove 1,500 miles round trip. I think we did, what was that trip?
The
Sierra Trek?
Sierra Trek, yeah.
Yeah, I did Sierra Trek and then I drove all the way to Grants Pass and all the way back. And it's like, no problem.
Yeah.
And that thing's got, 37-inch tires on it, and it tracks well. It's easy to drive, comfortable to drive. And
it was crazy to see when you did, when we went to Bald Mountain and you were crawling on the rock.
Yeah, I mean, now the truck
like,
is
wow.
fully built. It's got every option you need. It's got dual cases, super low geared, lockers, front and rear, chromoly axles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big and it's heavy, but you can now actually do some crawling with it, and so that makes it even more enjoyable. You're not, beating the crap out of your junk. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Matt, for being on the show. This is it for this show. Hopefully this show was not all over the place. I think it was pretty constructive.
I had a good time.
Thanks for being our first guest.
Yep.
Thanks for listening and watching if you guys are watching. See you on the next one. Peace.